Parts they played upon the stage were cast in a similar mold. Rough guys, tough guys, stooges and slobs, but always with a heart of gold. There were Silvers, Jacoby, Guilford and Lars, Albertson, Riley and Rose, gangster or goon or guy's best friend, who always wore the damnedest clothes. When the curtain went up, the crowd would roar, and the sound of those laughs remain. And I'm grateful that I came along at a time when I could be a link in that chain. Maids like me, I'm neat. I like maids, they're neat. Something no household should be without. Everybody ought to have a maid. Everybody ought to have a working girl. Everybody ought to have a working girl to putter around the house. Everybody ought to have a maid. Everybody ought to have a menial, consistently congenial, and quieter than a mouse. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself. I am a character man. Now you may ask, what is a character man? Well, Webster's would define a character man as an actor who could play either a leading or a supporting part, but one that displays unique characteristics or peculiarities. And that's me. I'm peculiar. Oh, wouldn't she be delicious, tidying up the dishes, needs a pen. Oh, wouldn't she be delightful, sweeping out, sleeping in. Everybody ought to have a maid. Someone who you hire when you're short of help, to offer you the sort of help you never get from a spouse. Shuttering up the windows, fluttering up the stairway, cluttering up the bedroom, buttering up the master, puttering all around the house. This is David Burns. Now, David Burns was one of the great character men of all Broadway history. When I was growing up, he was my mentor, and after I grew up, he was my best friend. He introduced this song. Well, he was the original banjo in The Man Who Came to Dinner. He was the original mayor in Music Man, the original Vandergelder in Hello, Dolly. And as Senex, he introduced this song in A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. Now, Forum opened when I was 15 years old. And every Saturday afternoon, I would take the Double R train from Bay Ridge for 20 cents. I would pay 50 cents to sit in the last row of the balcony of the Alvin Theater. It was the Alvin Theater back then. 25 cents for an orange drink, and I would sit back and I would watch Zero Mostel, David Burns, Jack Guilford, John Carradine, and Ray Walden, a whole stage full of character men, work their magic, and all for under $1. Oh, think of her at the dustbin, especially when she's just been traipsing about. Oh, wouldn't she be delightful living in, giving out? Everybody ought to have a maid. Daintily collecting bits of paper and strings, appealing in her apron strings, beguiling in her blouse. After the show came the best part. I would run down the 3 flights of stairs from the balcony onto 52nd Street, into the stage door, up the 3 flights to Davy's dressing room. Sometimes I'd get there before he did. And I would sit there. It was like a watering hole for character men. In would come Hans Conried and Jack Albertson and Lou Jacoby, and they would sit there telling each other wonderful theater stories. They were like the Jewish Knights of the Round Table. And there I was sitting in the corner like, Squire Schmuck, just wanting to be a part of all this. Now, the day I turned 16, which was the legal age to work in New York City, Davy said to me, "Stop buying tickets. I can get you a job working in the theater." What? You can get me a job working? 16 years old, and I would be working on Broadway, like Patty Duke. I had one line, and it was said at intermission in the back of the theater. Orange drink! Orange drink, 50 cents, orange drink! Well, Davy got me a job working for the Gallo brothers. The Gallo brothers own all the concessions in all the Broadway theaters. So I went down to the office to get my uniform to become a true Gulliver. The uniform was a blue blazer, a wonderful navy blue blazer, and it had purple and gold piping around the lapels, brass buttons, and right there over my heart, right on the pocket, was a gold embroidered emblem that said, "The Alvin Theater." Well, I got my jacket. Now, the only problem was, the only jacket, I was a 46 long. The only jacket they had was a 38 short. The first day that I put on, and I got the button thing, and I was so proud, and I ran up to Davy's dressing room to show him, and he was untying his shoe, and he looked up at me and he said, "Jesus Christ, you look like 2 pounds of shit in a 1 pound bag." Wouldn't she be so nimble, fiddling with her thimble, mending her gown? Oh, wouldn't she be delightful, living in, bending down? Everybody ought to have a maid, someone who'll be busy as a bumblebee, and even if you grumble, be as graceful as a grouse. Cowering in the attic, chattering in the cellar, clattering in the kitchen, flattering in the bedroom, hovering all around.